So now it's time for us to add photos. That is, to add locus photos. So you select the Locus Photo tab, or Photos tab, and it will take you to a page which will have a large box as well as a number of small boxes on the bottom. Now this is a little bit different than the way we add photos in other places, so I'm going to go through it as carefully as possible. Now the Photos tab on the Locus page is where we're adding photos that are specifically to highlight a locus. Now this is not to highlight individuals or anything like that. This is to show a specific area in the square. Not the whole square in particular, but a specific area. So every locus should have locus photos. Unlike the square photos where you're taking about eight photos from different directions, the locus photo you can have only one or two, but it is recommended that you take it from at least two different angles, two different directions, with a north directional arrow included in the photograph, if possible. If not, you should indicate in the description which direction you are facing whenever you are taking a picture of a locus, particularly if you don't have a scale or you don't have an arrow in it. Otherwise, it'll be hard to figure out what this is pointing at. Now, it is recommended that one photo have an outline of the area, because sometimes what people do is they'll photograph the whole square and say, okay, that's where locus 2 is. Well, exactly where is locus 2? That's a problem that we won't know unless maybe it's outlined. Now, this can be achieved by using one of the drawing apps that you will have on your iPad. So if I go back and come out, I can show you where there are some. Now, this iPad has a lot more features because this is the testing iPad. But on your iPad, you might have one that's called Graphics. So you can add a photograph, and here you can see we've done some drawings in here. Or if not this one, you can see maybe you have a drawing program which is specific that you can draw on the photograph. There are a lot of different drawing applications, but depending on what your project uses, like in our project we use TouchDraw a lot. We click on TouchDraw, for example, and we look at, here's an example of drawings in which the picture shows you the area which has been excavated. Now this is sometimes substituting for top plans, but what we're suggesting is that when you take a picture of the area, that you do an outline in case the area is larger than the actual locus. So that's how you can achieve that using a drawing program. I'm going to go out, go back in and select our thing. Notice it wants me to do a finger thing. Here I'm going to enter a passcode instead. And now we're back. So let's add a picture, and I'm going to show you what some of the buttons do and what the features are here. As we look around, we can notice in the upper left-hand corner there is a gallery button. That gallery button, when you press that button, it will bring up a gallery view of all the pictures that you're about to input. You have an insert button in the upper right-hand corner. You can use the insert button to put the picture into the box, but you don't need to, because the nice thing about the iPad is that when you select the box, it'll actually give you the option of adding a photograph. You have at the bottom something that looks kind of like a film strip, and that film strip is pretty important. We're going to show you why. Here's what we need to do. So first, when you're going to add, and this is particular to the locus photos and this film strip, you must touch the one that's empty. Then you tap on the large photo button. Then you select photos and the photo that you're about to put in. Now let's go back out, and remember, you can use the camera to take a picture at this point, but if you do, it will go into the database, but it won't be stored on the iPad, and we really would like to have a copy of that on the iPad as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the photos, we're going to go to all photos, we're going to scroll through, and we're going to look for a picture of the area, the locus that we are excavating. So here we go. We have nice pictures. Here we go. Nice picture. And you can see there are a lot of different angles. So now I've added the picture, and you see that immediately a large picture shows up, and then there's a little one down there in the bottom. I can, of course, make this bigger by selecting view and get a good picture and zoom in and zoom out. And I can note certain features. Notice the spolia there in the lower right hand corner. And now I'm going to go done. But now I want to add another one, because that's only one picture of this particular locus that I'm looking at. So I'm going to press again I'm going to select the empty or blank small box, and then tap the large box to find another picture. Again, I'm going to all photos, and you can go to recent, because if you just took them, it's easy to just go to the recent photos and find it, but this is something that was taken some time ago. I'm going to take a little bit different angle here, so you can see what I've done. I've added a new angle to show that locus. The first one was good, and I can select that box and see it, or I can check the new one. And what happens is I can go through, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add more pictures. So I'm just going to keep adding pictures that are of this particular locus. And what I want to do is to show you what happens when you fill up the film strip. What happens when you fill up the film strip. So we're just going to keep adding pictures of the same thing. So there's number 3. I'm going to select number 4. And when you are taking pictures, make sure that you're highlighting specifically what you want to feature that's going to remind you of something about this square that's important, or something about this locus that's important. Let me add another one. And you can add, I think it's up to 162 pictures. It's not recommended that you add that many, but it's certainly possible. Just as many pictures as shows the features that you are particularly interested in showing. Remember, this is the only record of that locus. If you don't take a picture of that locus and you don't label that locus, then we will not know where that locus is. It disappears with you. Now notice I have now filled up all 6 of the bottom pictures of this, and I want to now take a 7th picture. So what I do is I click the arrow on the right hand side, I select again the empty box, I select a photo, again I tap on all photos or recent photos, whichever gets you to the picture that you want to get to the fastest. So now I'm going to take a picture, select this picture, and tap outside the box, and you can see now I have this picture, but the other ones, all I have to do is press that arrow on the left or the arrow on the right, and if I want to see a larger view of each picture, I just tap. You can see it's just like a film strip. We go along, each one is a button, we can see it from different angles, and then you can add a description for each photograph as to what it is. The direction that you are facing is usually the first thing that you want to include, and then if there's something specific in the locus that you're trying to make sure that you're trying to share. So those are the main features for inserting a picture into the locus. This is a locus. Now what will happen is that you often will find that an update button will appear. When the update button appears, make sure that you do click it, because what that will do is transfer the photograph as well as the date and any description that you input. It'll transfer it over to the photograph database. So make sure that you remember to click that, and you'll need to do that for every single picture that you insert. After you put in the date and the description, you'll want to click that update button, and that'll allow that information to be passed. So here you have the locus photos, and now we're going to turn to some of the other tabs that we have here for a new Earth locus.